What do you make of this, then? Possible emergency legislation to make sure this man is deported. Do you think it'll happen?
You know what, Jonathan, what absolutely shocks me is that Shabir Ahmed was convicted back in 2012. He was ordered to serve 22 years for one trial that he went through and 19 for the other. So that should have been 41 years. He's actually out in 14. But in all those 14 years, the judge ordered that he be deported in the trial in 2012. Wouldn't you think that with all the legal brains, Keir Starmer, the DPP, Nazir Afzal, the chief prosecutor, all these legal brains and a judge, that they would have addressed this in the 14 years he's been in prison? So either they didn't think it would still be an issue when he came out, or they really are incompetent. You know, they are the people who are leading the country. And I've said last week, you know, it's like closing the stable door after the horse has bolted. Why are they only looking at this now? It should have been addressed at the time of the trial.
And of course, while this discussion is ongoing, for his victims, it's a terribly worrying time.
Yeah, it is, Jonathan. But you know, this is one man, and I really would like to expand the conversation to cover all victims of all abusers, because they are completely powerless and voiceless in these conversations. You know, I was saying last week I was in touch with some of the Rochdale victims of this man and this gang, and they have had no support. There isn't like wraparound care for them. You know, this man has been released from prison. I was in close contact with Ruby, for instance, last week as one of the girls, and she was terrified because she'd had no communication. There is nobody there who has said, what would you like? Do you need extra precautions? Do you feel unsafe? And bear in mind that Ruby bumped into her, I call him a rapist, who got her pregnant when she was just 13. She didn't know he was out of prison. She bumped into him in the local supermarket. She'd been threatened at gunpoint by another one in the gang, as had her sister, that if they spoke to the police, they would be shot. These are the fears that victims feel. So yes, we are having all this attention on Shabir Ahmed. Personally, I would have made him serve 41 years in prison. I would build a big prison on the top of Dartmoor and I would lock them in and throw away the key. So for me, this is a little bit of a distraction from the bigger issues that affect victims and survivors throughout the country, who feel frightened, they feel voiceless, they feel forgotten. Once again, we've got a government talking about, you know, resolutions or solutions now. When last night, for instance, all the...
You think, what is the solution? Is it more resources for victims? Is it a better system, less bureaucracy? You tell me.
All of that, actually. We need somebody who is going to look after the welfare of victims after a trial. As it is now, a victim is a commodity, actually. They're useful at the beginning of a prosecution and they're useful in the trial. And then they just fade out of the picture. Nobody has responsibility for their welfare. And they are the forgotten people when victims and survivors actually should be the ones that are front and centre of this. They really are, as I say, a commodity. And we do, Jonathan, we do need more investment in our whole criminal justice system. You know, we're talking about releasing serious sexual offenders and abusers now, a third into their sentence. You know, in America, if somebody is convicted to serve 41 years, they'll serve 41 years. So why are we always playing games? Yesterday, we had all the pubs open, you know, emergency legislation to allow the pubs to stay open. Why is it that on these serious cases, we can't have similar action and similar commitment and prioritising what victims and survivors really demand, which is a system that works?
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned Ruby there, and you've worked so hard with her over the years. Is it right that she has now got extra security? What does that entail? You've been pushing for it.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, in Ruby's case, I have contact details within Greater Manchester Police, and I went straight to an assistant chief constable who took it very seriously. And now she's got, she's got an emergency, an urgent response marker. She's got an app on her phone. And actually today, I have just been contacted by somebody who heard me speaking, a CCTV company who are willing to donate or fit a whole CCTV system around her house. But, the safety of victims of these horrific gangs should not be left to somebody like me or a member of the public. There should be a department that has responsibility for these victims and these girls who were children. It really is hit and miss and potluck, and I don't think that's good enough. There are victims and survivors throughout the country who fear the release of their abusers. So this case, actually, the Rochdale case, because of the drama, three girls that, they allowed to be told, the Rochdale girls that I worked on for 4 years, that keeps on giving. It shows where the gaps in the system are. This man is not going to be deported. We had others who were supposed to be deported who argued under their human rights they couldn't be. We've had, somebody who got a child of 13 pregnant out of prison in less than 4 years because he wasn't charged with serious offences. There are so many failures within our criminal justice system that won't be mended by empty words and promises in the House of Commons. It needs investment, it needs commitment, it needs a fully joined up system, Jonathan, where, the police talk to the CPS, talk to the victim contact scheme, talk to the prisons, so that we actually do get some form of protection for children that find themselves, after the trial, completely forgotten about.
Yeah, it does sound from what you're saying that there are solutions available. It's just getting it to the people that need it in a sensible way. Maggie, we're out of time, but we really appreciate you coming on as always. Maggie Oliver, thank you.
Pleasure, thank you.